Okay, kids. So we're working on the Chapter 3 exam, the practice test. So study this video and then retake your Chapter 3 exam. You want to do much better. Okay, so for the following set of data, write them as a table, as a map, and a graph. And then for each, determine the domain, the range, and whether it is or it's not a function. So we see -5, 1, -2, -1, 1, -2, 2, -4, and 5, -1. There is no repeat value of the x value. So that means for every x, there's one and only one y. So that makes it a function. Function because every x has one y. If an x has two y's, then it's not a function. Then it's no function. But in this case, every x has one y, so it is a function. Okay. So that took care of function or not function. Next, we want to write this as a table. So a table has an x value and a y value. So if x is -5 and y is 1, -2, -1, 1, -2, 2, -4, and 5, -1. So I just wrote these set of points in a table. So the next question is some kind of a mapping. So we have an x and then we have a y. So x is like -5, -2, 1, 2, and 5. And we're supposed to map it to the y, which is like a 1, -1, -2, -4. There's no need for me to write the -1 again because I already wrote the -1 here. So here's how mapping works. -5 is mapped with 1. -2 is mapped with -1. 1 is mapped to -2. 2 is mapped to -4, and what is this? This is 5. And 5 is mapped to -1, and that's right there. So there's that mapping. Okay, so we took care of the table, took care of the mapping. Now what? Oh, a graph. So we should do the graph here because we already have a Cartesian coordinate plane here. So the first point is -1. So I'm going to click over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's -5, and then up 1. There's the first point. The second point is -2, -1. So I go to the left 2, and I go down 1. There's your second point. The third point is 1, -2. So you go 1 to the right, and then you go down 2. And then we have 2, -4. You go 2 to the right, and you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And then the last point is 5, -1. So you go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down 1. So there's the graph of that. Just 4 points, 5 points. And domain and range. So when we say domain, we refer to all x values. And the x values in this case would be -5, -2, 1, 2, and 5. And then the next part is the range. And the range refers to all y values. And the range in this case is 1, -1, -2, and -4. There's no need to write -1 again because we already have it. So I think that took care of it. There's a graph, there's a table, there's a map. We know it's a function because for every x there's one y. And then here's the domain and there's the range. Okay, that took care of number 1. So number 2 is a word problem. So let's see if we can make sense of it. It says Mama's new iPhone has a 32 gigabyte of storage. And the function I of x is equal to 32 minus 0.5x. That represents the amount of storage remaining after every time she downloads a movie. So if you look at this over here, it looks like there's a 32 that's how much she has in her phone. Her storage has 32 gigabytes. And for every movie downloaded, she's losing 0.5 gig. So every movie is half a gig. Okay, so now let's do this table over here. Complete the table to represent the total cost downloading from 0 to 40 movies. So I of 0 means how much memory when she has 0 movies. Well, she should have the original amount, 32. So the math is 32 minus 0.5 times 0. So that's 32 minus 0, or 32. So no download of movies, 32 gig, that's the original number. Okay. So x is 4 means there's 4 movies. So I of 4 means how much memory is left on the phone after she downloaded 4 movies. So it's 32 minus 0.5 times 4. 0.5 times 4 is half of 4. So it's going to be 32 minus 2. And that means she has 32 gigabytes after she downloaded 4 movies. So I of 12 means how much memory is left after 12 downloads of movies. So it's 32 minus 0.5 times 12. So half of 12 is 6. So 32 minus 6, I think that's like 20, what is that? 32 minus 6, that's like 26. So 26 gigabyte left after she downloaded 12 movies. And then I sub 20, or I of 20 is how much memory is left after she downloaded 20 movies, which is a lot of movies. So 32 minus 0.5 times 20. So half of 20 is 10. So it's 32 minus 10, or 22. So 22 gig after she downloaded 20 movies. Then I of 32 is going to be 32 minus 0.5 times 32. Half of 32 is 16, so it's 32 minus 16, and that means she has 16 gig after she downloaded 32 movies. And then I of 40 means 32 minus 0.5 times 40. So that's going to be 32 minus half of 40, that's 20, so she has 12 gigs after she downloaded 40 movies. Okay, for the graphing part, we have to graph these points. We have to graph 0, 32, 4, 30, 12, 26, 20, 22, 32, 16, and 40, 12. So these are the x over here. You have to go from 0 to 40. I don't have 40 clicks. I only have like 12 clicks. So each of these I'm going to make it as 4. So that's 4. Plus 4 is 8. Plus 4 is 12. Plus 4 is 16. Plus 4 is 20. Plus 4 is 24. Plus 4 is 28. Plus 4 is 32. Plus 4 is 36. Plus 4 is 40. I think that's all we need to go out. Now on the y-axis, we got to go up to 32, and I get 12 clicks. I don't have 32 clicks, so every click I'm going to just make it as 3. So the scaling is different. Alright, so 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18, plus 3 is 21, and then 24, and then 27, and then it's 30, and it's 33, and then it's 36, and then it's 39. Alright, let's graph this. So 0, 32, this is 0, 32, 33, about here. Okay, and then next is what, 4, 30. So here's 4, go up to 30, right around here. Next is 12, 26. So I go 12 here, I go up 26, right around here. Next is 20, 22, here's 20, I go up 22, where is that, 22, right around here. And then 32, 16, I go out to 32, that's this one, I go up 16, that's around here. And then what, 40, 40 is here, and I go up 12, go up 12, around here. So it looks like it's like a, there we go, it's like this kind of a line. I think I made it a dotted line because the movies are not continuous, because we can't do like fractional movies, so it's going to be a dotted line going down. Oh, so part C said, is it discrete or continuous? So discrete means it's whole numbers only. Whole numbers only. And then continuous means it can be fractional numbers. Can be fractional. So is this fractional or whole numbers? Well, we're talking about movies. And movies are going to be whole numbers only, because you're not going to pay for half a movie. You might watch a half a movie, but you have to pay for the whole movies. So we're buying whole movies only. So if it's whole movies, whole number movies, then it's going to be discrete. Because discrete has to do with whole numbers. Okay. So the next part is, what does the domain represent? So the domain refers to all x values, and the x values in this case, I think, is what's the number of movies? There we go. Number of movies. And then what else? What does the range represent? The range refers to all y values. And the y values in this case, I think, refers to the amount of memory. So, amount of memory in gigabyte. Okay? And finally, it says how much memory was left after 24 movies were downloaded. So the formula is I sub x, so I of x rather, I of 24 means how much memory after you download 24 movies. The formula is 32 minus 0.5 times the x, in this case is 24. So 32 times 0.5, 24. That's going to be 32 minus half of 24, which is 12. And that's 20. So 20 gigabyte left on her phone after she downloaded 20 movies. Okay, that took care of page 1. I hope that was good for you. If not, watch it again and then ask questions in class. Alright, so now this one has to do with operations of integers. So f of x is here, and g of x is 2x, and we want to know the sum of f of x and g of x. So that means we just add f of x to g of x. So that means we add 5x plus 6 to g of x, which is 2x. So that's just a plus sign. So it's like distributing 1, which is just 2x. So I have 5x plus 6 plus 2x. So now you can combine like terms. 5x plus 2x is 7x, and then there's the 6. So these are not like terms, so we don't combine them. We just leave it the way it is. So 7x plus 6 is the sum of f of x plus g of x. So number 3, it says this is f of x, 3x plus 6, a different function, and g of x is 3x, a new different function, and we want to know the difference of the two. That means f of x minus g of x. So f of x is 3x plus 6, and we're going to minus g of x, and minus g of x is minus 3x. So that minus sign, you can think of it as like a -1, which gets distributed inside. So it's going to be 3x plus 6 minus 3/6. And 3x minus 3x is no x, so all that's left is 6. So this is f of x minus g of x, just a little 6. In the next part, we have to multiply the two functions. So here's f of x, here is g of x. So f of x is 7x minus 1, and g of x is 5. So we just have to multiply this. Now this might look a little bit weird to you, so I'm going to, do commutative property and move things around. I move the 5 out in front, and I move the 7x minus 1 in the back. I'm allowed to do that, move it back and forth. It's like 3 times 4, 4 times 3, it's the same outcome. So with this over here, this I use, commutative property. And this I have to use distributive property. So 5 distribute to 7x, and 5 distribute to -1. So 5 times 7x minus 5 times 1, the outcome is going to be 35x minus 5. And that is the product of f of x and g of x. That means I multiply f of x with g of x, and that's what I get. And then this one, we're looking for f of 2 minus g of 7. So here's f of x, and we want to know what is f of 2. So f of 2, you just substitute 2 in place of x. That's going to be 3 times 2 plus 6. So that's going to be 12. Because 3 times 2 is 6, plus 6 is 12. And then we're going to look at g of 7. Now, g of x is 3x, so g of 7 is going to be 3 times 7, which is 21. So now if we want f of 2 minus g of 7, that's going to be 12 minus 21. And I think the outcome is going to be like, what is that, 19 or 9? It's 9. It's not 9. It's negative 9. Okay, so there's f of 2 minus g of 7. And then number 7, they give you this function. This is written in standard form. They want to find the intercepts, meaning the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and then graph it. So the first thing we'll do is to find the x-intercept. And to find the x-intercept, I have to let the y equal 0. So I cover up the y and set 5x minus negative 10. 5x is equal to minus negative 10, because the y is gone, because I let the y equal 0. In this case, x is equal to negative 2. So it's going to be negative 2, 0. And that's my y-intercept. I screwed it up. That's my x-intercept. Next, I'm going to find the y-intercept, and I'm going to let the x equal 0. So where's my function? If x is 0, 5 times x is 0, that goes away. All that's left is negative 2y is equal to negative 10. So negative 2y is equal to negative 10. So y is equal to positive 5. So the y-intercept is going to be 0, 5. There we go. So now I think we're ready to graph it. So if I graph it, I can look at the x-intercept. The x-intercept is negative 2, 0. That's right here. The y-intercept is 0, 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I just have to connect the two dots, and then that's my line. That's my function. So take your student ID card, draw your line, and this line is called 5x minus 2y is equal to negative 10. It's written in standard form. Okay, so for number 8, we'll have to identify this anatomies of this line here, the linear function. So this part right here, that looks like the line crosses the x-axis at this point. So it's called the x-intercept. And then this bit right here crosses this, where the graph crosses the y-axis. So that's called the y-intercept. And then this bit over here refers to the change in the y direction. Now, change in the y direction, I think, is what we call the rise. We use it in middle school. In high school, we say, what do we say? Change in the y direction. We can say delta y, triangle y. That means the rise, the change in the up-down. So this bit over here is a change in the x direction. So you can call it delta x, triangle x, or I think in middle school we call it the run. So rise over run. So this is the run right here. So rise over run will give you the slope. Rise over run. In this case, the rise is 2, the run is 3, so the slope is equal to 2 over 3. Then the y-intercept here is negative 2. The y-intercept is negative 2, so you can write your equation of this line as y is equal to 2 over 3x minus 2. Now, it didn't ask you for the equation, but there's no harm in me giving you the equation, is there? You might learn something. Okay, so let us go to the next page, which is now number 9. So on number 9, it says graph this function and then this function. That's f of x and that's g of x. So to graph it, we have to understand what it looks like first. So let's talk about f of x. That's equal to the absolute value of x. So this one is actually the parent function of all absolute value functions. We know that the vertex is at the origin, and that's 0, 0. So if you look out here, you don't see anything. So it's not negative. It must be positive. So it's a positive out here. That's going to be a V up. If it's negative out here, it's V down. So in this case, it's V up. And then the coefficient of the x, you don't see it, but it's a 1. So that means the slopes is going to be 1, the one that goes up, and there's one that goes down. The slope is negative 1. Okay, so there's f of x. So we graph it. There's a vertex at 0, 0, up 1, 1 to the right. That's this line. Then up 1, 1 to the left, and it's that line. This one has a slope of 1. This one has a slope of negative 1. The vertex is 0, 0. So that's f of x. We should say f of x is equal to absolute value of x. Okay, next we're going to graph g of x. And g of x is negative of absolute value of x plus 2. So that negative sign out there, that tells me that it's a v down. And then see that plus 2 there? That means it's 2 units to the left. You would think that it's positive 2, so it's 2 units to the right. But in the x direction, it's backwards. In the y direction, it's normal. So that means the vertex here is equal to negative 2, 0. It's v up. Then the slope is the coefficient of the x. So in this case, it's the slope of 1 and negative 1. I'm going to graph this in red for you. So the y-intercept is negative 2, 0. That's right over here. Then it opens down. So out 1, down 1, down 1, out 1. Okay, and this is g of x is equal to negative of absolute value of x plus 2. Thank you. I do want dinner. Oh, okay. I have to rush this up because it's dinner time. Anyway, so describe the transformation. So the transformation of fx to g of x is that it's going to be 2 units left. It is 2 units left. 2 units left, and it's a flip upside down, so we call it reflected across the what is that thing called? The x-axis. The x-axis. Thinking about dinner, not knowing how to write. Okay, so number 10, there's a whole bunch of things that we have to do. It's actually very quick, so we'll knock it out right now. Okay, see that minus 3? That means g of x. So f of x is the absolute value of x, so that's the original function. And then this one just moves, it's on the outside, so it's outside, it moves up and down, and it's negative, so it moves down. So g of x moves down 3 units. So on the graph, the vertex was here, it goes down 1, 2, 3. And then it still is up 1, 1 to the right, and up 1, 1 to the left. There's your graph. Okay, with this one, that negative sign tells you that it is v down. So that means it's reflected across the x-axis. So the vertex is still 0, 0, and it's down 1, 1 to the right, down 1, 1 to the left. There's your function. And then for g of x, the only thing that's changed is the slope. That's 2. So it still is v up because that's a positive number. But the two slopes, one is 2, the other one is negative 2. So when we graph it, there's your vertex, the slope of 2, you go up 2, 1 to the right, up 2, 1 to the right. It's this line. Then up 2, 1 to the left, up 2, 1 to the left. It's this line. Looks just like the mama function, but a little bit narrower. We call it a vertical stretch, vertical dilation, factor of 2. Okay, and then with this minus 3 over here, notice that the minus 3 is on the inside of the absolute value, so it's going to go right left, and it's opposite of what you think. So it's going to be 3 units, and it's negative, makes me think it's to the left, so it's to the right. And then when we graph it, we just go 1, 2, 3 to the right, and then slope of 1, slope of negative 1. There we go. Finally, this one has a double change. It's 2 units to the left. Yes, I know it's backwards. And then this is normal, that's 3 units down. So if you go 2 left and 3 down, then you have a new vertex at negative 2. No, negative 2, negative 3. There we go. Negative 2, negative 3. 2 left, 3 down. That's right. And then it's a V up with a normal slope. So when we graph it, we're going to go click 2 to the left. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3. Opens up 1, 1 to the right, up 1, 1 to the left. And is that it? It's not it. Last one. And then we're done. And then it's dinner time. Okay, this is super fast. Graph each of the following lines, horizontal or vertical. Is the slope 0 or is it undefined? So this is x is equal to 4. So it crosses the x-axis at 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. So it's got to be a vertical line that goes up and down. Of course, you can't skate up and down this line, so the slope is undefined, and it's a vertical line. X is equal to negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's this line right here. The slope is once again undefined, and it's a vertical line. Y is equal to negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's this line right here. Crosses at y-axis at negative 4. Flat line, so the slope is 0, and it's a horizontal line. And then y is equal to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's this line right here, so the slope is 0, and it's a horizontal line. X equal to negative 2. Here's x is negative 2. It must be a vertical line, so the slope is undefined, and it's a vertical line. Y is equal to 5. I think that's this line right here, crossing the y-axis at 5. Slope is 0, horizontal line. Okay, easy stuff. And lastly, we have to do these 4 graphs. So to graph this one, it's in standard form. I need to find the x-intercept, and I need to know the y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, I let the y equal to 0. Notice I cover up the y. 5x equal to 15, x equal to 3. 3, 0. To find the y-intercept, I let the x equal to 0. I cover that up. 3y equal to 15. Divide both sides by 3. Y is equal to 5. Y-intercept is 0, 5. So we plug these points in, and then we graph it. So here's 3, 0. Here is 0, 5. And there's that line. With this one, it's remarkably easy to graph because the 4 here is your y-intercept, and the negative 1/2 is your slope. So I start at, is that 4 or negative 4? I think that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your y-intercept. And then the slope is negative 1 over 2, so you go down 1, 2 to the right, down 1, 2 to the right. And it looks like it's this line. Okay. This one is it's almost standard form. The only thing that's not standard form is the negative 3. That should be a positive number. But that's okay. We're keeping it. So to find the x-intercept, I let the y equal to 0. I cover that up. Divide both sides by negative 3. X equal to negative 7. So the x-intercept is negative 7, 0. And then to find the y-intercept, I'm going to let the y equal 0. No, the x equal 0. My bad. This is not 0. Let the x equal to 0. 7y is equal to 21. That's got to be 3. There we go. So negative 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there. And y-intercept is 3. 1, 2, 3. Right there. So there's your line. And then with this one, this is your y-intercept. This is your slope. So we start at negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down here. And then we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 2 to the right. Up 1, 2, 3, 2 to the right. And it's that line right there. So I think this is done. It is done. So this was Chapter 3 Exam Practice Test. It's your study guide. I hope you're able to understand what I did. And then I wish you luck on your Chapter 3 exam tomorrow. All right. Bye, kids.